Welcome. This is meant to be a brief introduction to Adobe Illustrator for my design classes as I prepare vectored stickers to be printed up in the Digital Output Center at the Cleveland Institute of Art. First thing you're going to need to do is open up Adobe Illustrator. If it's not on the dock in the bottom of your computer, you can access this by finding the Applications folder here, and then selecting the Adobe Illustrator folder, clicking the icon and dragging that onto your dock. Or if it's not, there's not an Applications folder down here, you can access it by finding the Applications folder here, and then scrolling down until you can find the Illustrator folder. Same thing, find the program, drag and drop that into your dock there, just like this. Alright, I'm not going to land it into my dock because it's already there. Alright, so I'm going to come back to Illustrator. I'm going to click OK. Well, first I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call it last name, first name, sticker 01. And click OK. Alright, so this white board right here is considered an art board. So it's acting like a piece of paper, but it is in fact the correct terminology for this space will be an art board. On the left side, you have your toolbar. On the top right here is a control panel. The control panel changes as you switch between different tools. As soon as I apply a mark here, my choices up here will change. Okay? And then there's a menu bar at the top. The right side are additional tool options, including color swatches, which we'll get to in a little bit, paintbrush, strokes, brush types. Here's the stroke right here. If you open up the strokes and it doesn't have a lot of selections, the way you can expand that is clicking this button right here and then clicking show options, and it'll expand it to greater options there. Alright, gradient, these are layers, and then this is image trace. Alright, and then if there's something over here that you're looking for and you can't find it, you'll be able to find it here under the window, under the menu bar. Alright, first I'm going to show you our shapes. Shapes are accessible right here. If I click and hold, I can get them to drop down and show all the available shape options. I'm going to click that button, and it's going to get this window to pop out here. Square, pretty simple like that. I draw a shape on there. And you can see I can move it around in whatever shape I want. If I want to be a perfect square, I'm going to hold down the Shift key. You'll see that it'll constrain the proportions. Alright. Second one is this has a rounded rectangle tool. Pull that. Same thing. Hold the Shift key. It's fine like that. If I want to change the diameter of that radius, or the size of that radius on that square, I'm going to hit the up arrow key on my keyboard. You'll see it's slowly getting bigger. Down arrow key is going to reduce that size. Alright? That's the second one. Third shape is an ellipse. Shift, constrain proportions. No shift, I have an ellipse. Fourth shape is a polygon. Like in the rounded rectangle tool, if I press the down arrow, I can reduce the number of sides. If I press the up arrow, I can increase the number of sides as big as I want until it almost looks like a circle. Alright? The last one is a star. There you go. I can increase the number of points in the star. I can decrease it. I can increase it however I want. Here we go. You'll notice that these shapes are all white with a black stroke. Right? That is because down here is where the color is defined within the shape. If I select the shape, the white space right here represents the fill. You can see it hovering that. I can double click that. I can choose a new fill color, and it'll apply it to that space. Or I can go over to the swatches right here. This time I'm going to change the stroke, which is the black line. And there's a few more options. I'm going to choose a swatch this time and do orange right there. All right. I can't see that orange line because the fill line is not great enough. All right. The weight of the line is not great enough. So I'm going to click this right here, which is the stroke, and then I'm going to increase that stroke there so I can get it bigger. All right. You can apply that to each of those different shapes. Adobe Illustrator is different from Photoshop, in which layers aren't necessarily as vital in a lot of instances, where you can actually stack the objects in space, even in one layer. Where in Photoshop, for you to be able to move things in foreground or back into the background, you have to stack them within the layers. So you can see here, I currently only have one layer with the six objects in there. And if I want to take this star, this 11-point star, and send it to the back, I'm going to go up to the object, arrange, and I'm going to send backward. Command left bracket. Didn't do anything. But if I press Command Shift left bracket, you'll see it throws it behind everything in that space. All right? So it's nowhere in front of anything there. The only way I can get to it is by moving some things around. All right? So you have the ability to stack everything into one layer without having to do any kind of layer management as you would need to do in Photoshop. I want to talk to you quickly about the difference between the selection tool and the direct selection tool. So the selection tool is this one. It's the black arrow. That's where I'm going to be able to select a shape and move it around. I can adjust the scale on this shape. I can also, you can see, adjust the rotation on this. And then you can see that's that rounded arrow right there. We can adjust the rotation on that. That's the selection tool. I can also select it and press the delete key, and it'll delete it from that space. I'm going to do that for all of these here. Right there. The other tool is the direct selection tool. That is the white arrow. I'm going to click on that. The direct selection tool is going to allow me to alter each anchor that is shown within space, and the anchor is going to be defined by an angle, either an angle or the beginning or the end of a radius. All right. If I have all these selected and I want to deselect this object, I don't have to click the black arrow and then click off that. Rather, I can press the command key, click away from the object, and you see it's deselected it, but I've still maintained this white arrow, the direct selection tool, without having to lose that. To use that tool, I have to have it deselected. I'm going to hover until I find an anchor, and then I can pull that out. There you go. If I press the shift key, I can pull that uniformly away from where it was. Now you see I didn't deselect that before I started pulling this corner, and you see how the top point is running with it. All right. For me to avoid that, I'm going to press Command Z. That'll undo it. I'm going to select away from there, and then I'm going to select that and press the shift key here now. All right. That's the direct selection tool. So I'm going to have the ability to alter each individual anchor. Oops. Each individual anchor within this space. All right. That's that. All right. There's also the paintbrush tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object. I'm going to press delete that. Paintbrush tool is similar in the sense as what you have in Photoshop. Brush types are over here, and I can draw this onto here. I can choose the weight of it by increasing the weight there. I'm going to set the fill on this to nothing, so it's just the path and it doesn't actually create an interior shape in there. There you go. You'll see that as I drew it with this, little blue dots appeared, and that's defining the path the anchors within there. So all of a sudden, if I click here, actually, let's click that one right there. There's a bunch of different little anchors in there, really kind of defining the path of that mark. There are additional strokes or brushes available down here. So I clicked that, the brushes there. This menu option right there, open brush library, and then you'll find just a few more additional brushes. You can also, see, there we go. You can also select, excuse me, that's selected already. You can also download them from the internet as well too. The pen tool is a tool that students generally hate at first, but as they become more acquainted with it, it ends up being the most flexible and successful tool that you'll use. Okay, so the pen tool does not draw the way that a pencil will. That will actually be the pencil tool, which is available. I don't use it that much. Where is that pencil tool? Pencil tool right there. And I can draw shapes like that. And it's gonna kind of fill in those paths, right? If you want to do freehand drawing, you use the pencil tool. The pen tool works in straight paths or curved paths. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So I just clicked it once in the space, twice, again, and I can close it all there. All right, so I made a closed shape right there. If I want to apply a fill on that, I can choose this color option. There we go. You see it applied the fill. But the pen tool also does curves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click a point, draw a straight path, and the second click, I'm gonna click and hold. So I haven't let go of the cursor yet, and I'm gonna start pulling this away, and you can start to see a curve being generated within this. All right. So for me to, I'm gonna do that. What I did there is, it's going to want to complete that curve that you generated naturally, right? And so if you were drawing something like an eyedropper, then you'd want to keep that curve going. You're going to try to line up as best as you can, and then you can go ahead and close it off right there, right? Whereas if you're drawing a shape, the common one that I show is a key, excuse me, which I will try to draw pretty quickly here now. You're going to want to change curves. So the first option where I'm going to want to change the curve is going to be right here. And you'll see right here, I don't want, for me to kind of be able to draw kind of this continuous curve right there. I'm going to want to not have it complete that curve, but instead I'm going to want it to create a second curve, a new one. Right, there's one right there. And again, get rid of that. There's another one right there. Get rid of that. That's way off center. I apologize, this is just a quick demo. But we can talk real quickly on how to resolve this using the direct selection tool. I'm gonna do this quickly. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, that's that. So it's a kind of a funky looking tool. This is where the direct selection tool will come into play. I'm gonna take this, press Command, deselect from that space. I can move this over to here. Move that over to there. 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 There. You see it's highlighted, it's showing those anchors. I can adjust those curves. like that. And this is how I can quickly, again, only going to do this really quickly because I want to keep this under a 15-minute threshold. So don't lose your attention. Okay, still funky, but maybe a little more uniform. So that's how you can use the pen tool to create a shape, and then to use the direction selection tool to kind of resolve different aspects of that shape. All right, the next thing I wanted to show you was how to create an image trace. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to import an image. So what I'm going to show you is how to do an image trace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Finder. Finder on a Mac is this goofy looking blue and white dude. I'm going to find my image. In this case, it's this bird. I'm going to take the image. I'm going to drag it into my space right here. See, it's going to land in there like that. And right in the space. Image trace is this icon. If you're having trouble finding this icon, if you don't remember what it looks like, always remember you can come back up to Window, select Window, scroll down, Image Trace, and you'll see it'll pop up over here like that. I like to do View Tracing Result, Mode Black and White, kind of the standards right there. You can do Tracing Result with outlines or outlines only. Source image right there like that, okay? So I'm going to press Trace. We're going to see what's happening. What happens? See? Single color, black and white. That's good if you're doing screen printing. All right, let's go ahead and do color. And you'll see that it will actually apply to actual image right there. It's set at 2 colors. We're going to adjust that. Oh, it's actually set at 30 colors. I apologize for that. Let's stop that. Let's reduce that number down to something a little more realistic. That. There you go. It's traced the object. You can see I can zoom in. Let's reduce that to still 12 colors, which is quite a bit. So you kind of get a blocking like that. But for the sake of the sticker, you don't actually have to do a tracing result. If you like the way this looks, if it makes sense within your composition, more power to you. But you don't actually have to apply that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that object right there. I'm going to take my sticker right here. I'm going to go in and take my, drag the bird back into the space, back to where it was a moment ago. You can see if I zoom in, the bird's out of focus a little bit, but you can see it is a raster-based image, meaning that's a pixel-based image based on the squares within that space right there, okay? Press Command 0. Command 0 is going to zoom out. Command plus will zoom in. Command minus will also zoom out. Or you can use this magnifying glass to zoom in out that way. Okay. All right. So if you want to take a photograph image, you can place that into your sticker. Place that into your vectored space. In this case, Illustrator. And so I can place that into there. And then if I want, I can go and just cut up like that. Or I can send it to the printer as it is like this. If this is the end result you're looking for, where you want a bird and then you want it to be framed within a larger white space, then what you're going to do is you're going to want to resize this artboard. And to do that, you're going to come up to File, scroll down, Document Setup, Edit Artboards. You see I get these boxes here, and this is where I'm going to edit the size of this space. There, that's that. Bring this down to here. Let's scroll this down. Oh, come on. Scroll that down to there. Press Enter, Enter. Okay, and there's the size of my artboard right there. See, that's the size of the bird. The artboard's in the background. That's the size of this paper when it came in from the document. All right. Move this over here like this. I can also use my left down, my arrow keys to kind of move things around more incrementally, like that. And so then this black line represents the size that the sticker will be when you send it to the cutout, send it to the printer. All right. If you want the bird to be floating in space and you want to be stacked and kind of filling the frame of that, in Photoshop, you will put that on a transparent background, and you'll so that way the white paper space from Photoshop is not imported into Illustrator. Now, if you want to do an outline of this bird, and therefore so that the printer or the cutter, sticker cutter, will cut out the outline of the bird so it can really be floating into space, I want to follow these steps. So I'm going to back out of there. I'm going to get rid of that size of the where I edited the artboard. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this bird and I'm going to do an image trace of it. This time I want it to be black and white. Keep in mind, black and white. I'm going to press Trace. I'm going to apply the trace. You see it's black and white right there. Now what I want to do is I want to come up to here, I want to click Expand. And what it's going to do is it's going to take all the paths in here, all the anchor points. And so right now you can still see that if I deselect it and I come back on, it's still one larger object, like how I brought it in from Photoshop. So I'm going to press Expand. Now you can see the blue line going around there. I'm going to want to come to Object. All the points are grouped together, so different paths are grouped together. So I'm going to click Ungroup. I'll deselect that. Click that. And delete that. Now I'm just stuck with the bird. Now if I zoom in, Command plus plus plus. There's that, right? I lost my options to kind of do any edits in image trace because I can see now that there's a little bit of a white space right there. And the printer want to cut that out. It's probably some kind of highlight in the bird's face. So I'm going to go and take my magnifying glass. I'm going to zoom in quite a bit right there. I'm going to take my pen. Under pen, I have the ability to use an add anchor point or a delete anchor point tool, which is what I'm going to use right now. Where I can take this, hover it over that anchor point. You'll see that it'll just start to disappear. All right. And now on top of this, there's also a white path right there. I can delete that. So there we go, all the way back down to all black. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to give it a fill right there and have that be black. And I'm going to have the stroke be black. I'm going to have the fill be transparent. That's right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image right here and I'm going to drag and drop it into here again. There we go, right there. I want to bring this one forward, so I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. So that'll be on top of there. I'm going to move this over here and pull this down this way. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to do my best to line that up into there. And plus, 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 Command plus, zooming in. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to shift this over just a little bit more. Right there. And you'll see it's all I'm doing right now really is just creating an outline of this bird, right? Now what we're going to need to do, sorry my computer's slowing down on me now. Wow. I'm going to press Command 0. I'm going to zoom out. I am going to create a new layer right here. So I'm going to actually take that layer, that object here, I'm going to command X. It's going to delete that path. I'm going to just put this on another layer right there and press Command V. It's going to place actually Command Z, Command Shift V will place it back into place in the exact spot in which where it was. I'm going to come back to my stroke. I'm going to define the width of that stroke at 0. All right, no stroke fill. So that's, I guess that was just the negative one there. And then I'm going to come up to color swatches. Oops, excuse me. I have to deselect that. Oh, no, how do I make this? Alright, so I'm going to come up to the swatch panel right here. I'm going to select any color right there. In this case, it's going to be black. I'm going to click New Swatch. I'm going to change this into spot color. I am going to change the color, so it's more of a cyan-ish looking, magenta looking color. Excuse me. Where's magenta? There you go. So I want a full magenta color there. Pull it all the way back to there. And that's just so I can see it, so it's going to pop out a little bit more. And press OK. Like that. I'm going to select that path right there. Oops. Come back to here. Select that. It's going to create it there. Click that no fill. It'll stand right there. All right. Excuse me on that. Escape. I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to call this name ContourCut. I want you to pay attention to this right here. It's capital C, spelled contour like that. Contour before the cut, and also there's no space between two. If you label it as such right here, the computer will look for that path and it'll define that path as a cut out, as opposed to just an additional path to be printed, right? And in this, which case it will actually cut out the shape right there, right? Color mode is CMYK. All right, and press OK, and that's that. Now all I need to do is, I guess I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to resize my artboard, which doesn't matter right now, except for if you send it to the lab, what's going to happen is that they're going to bill you for, I think, a sticker this size, as opposed to if you size your artboard so it's a little bit smaller, they will bill you for something more relative to your actual size of the sticker there. I'm going to press enter. I'm going to press enter again right there. I'm going to change tools. This black line represents the size of the sticker. That's actually obviously your image right there. It's placed within the space right there, like that. And then all you'll do is you're gonna come up to File. Oops, excuse me. File. Save as. PDF. I'll put it in my Dropbox for now. Like that. You'll get some options that come into here. You don't want, the choice you want to select This is preferred by the DOC as PDF X4 2008. Not high quality print, not press quality. PDF X4 2008. Select that. And you press Save PDF. It's going to save the document, and you can go. So I showed you how to do a cut contour on based on a photograph like that. Any shape that you want to produce in which you want an ambiguous line cutting it out, a curved line or something that's following kind of the shape within the form, you're going to want to create this cut contour swatch. I recommend using magenta or any other color that just kind of stands out visually a little bit more than the others. And I believe that you can actually keep that a color because it's actually going to recognize that it will be, excuse me, get that wrong. It'll recognize that color right there, and then you can actually say to yourself, okay, this is the path that is following the cutter right there. Because if you name it correctly, ContourCut, it won't print up that magenta color. It'll just follow that path around the bird to cut it out. So you're going to do this within any shape. You can also do it if you're drawing with the pen tool. If I wanted to do an elliptical form around here, like that, as long as that path is this color swatch right here with that correct name, ContourCut, spot color, the magenta on there, it will just cut out that path right there. And if you have two of them like that, you have the negative and you have the positive space. Okay? I believe that answers all the quick introductions. This is a quick tutorial. It did not cover the full aspects of Photoshop, and certainly not all the content that's taught in digital color. But I believe I covered all the main points to get you going for this sticker project. If you have any questions, please email me, and I'll do my best to answer anything that pops up. You can also ask Vanessa in the room, what room is that, 203 Computer Lab, as well as going down to the DOC and seeing if somebody down there would be able to help you as well too. Thank you.